The Vraxian Imperial cruiser hummed with the cold efficiency of a predator at rest. Commander Zethkara stood before the reinforced containment cell, his 4 eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Inside, pressed against the energy barriers, was the creature the humans called a honey badger, a compact ball of fur and fury that had somehow infiltrated 3 decks of his warship. Primitive vermin, Zethkara clicked his mandibles in amusement. Your species sends children and animals to face the Empire? Pathetic. Behind him, in a separate holding cell, sat 8-year-old Melissa Chen. Her small frame was dwarfed by the detention chair, her legs dangling above the floor. But her dark eyes held no fear, only a knowing patience that unsettled even the battle-hardened Vraxian guards. You should let him go, Melissa said softly, her voice carrying across the detention bay. Zethkara turned, his armored bulk shifting with mechanical precision. The human child speaks. Tell me, little creature, why would the Empire fear this? What did your databanks call it? Mellivora capensis? He practically spat the scientific name. We have conquered 73 worlds. We have crushed species with natural plasma weapons, hive minds that span solar systems, and silicon-based warriors that breathe radiation. And you send us a small mammal? Melissa smiled. Not the innocent smile of a frightened child, but something older, wiser. Now you've done it. Done what, precisely? Zethkara leaned closer to her cell, amused. You trapped a honey badger. My brother tried to explain, but you wouldn't listen. 18 hours earlier. The Vraxian fleet had descended upon the human agricultural colony of New Manitoba. It should have been simple, a show of force, complete subjugation, another world added to the Empire's endless collection. But humanity had learned much in their brief 40 years since first contact. They had learned that the galaxy respected one thing above all: tenacity. Lieutenant Burak Chen had volunteered for what the humans called Operation Mongoose. The name meant nothing to the Vraxians scanning his small vessel as it approached under a flag of negotiation. They saw a young officer, barely out of his teens, with the same dark eyes as his sister. They saw no threat. I'm here to discuss terms of surrender, Burak had said, his hands raised, his uniform bearing no weapons. What the scanners didn't detect was the small cargo pod attached to his ship's underbelly, a pod containing Earth's most indomitable ambassador. The meeting had lasted 12 minutes before Burak triggered the release. The honey badger, a female named Sergeant Ripley by her handlers, had burst into the conference room with the fury of a species that had evolved to fight off lions, hyenas, and bee swarms simultaneously. Chaos erupted. Vraxian warriors, each weighing 300 pounds of muscle and chitin, scrambled as the 20-pound mammal tore through the room. She bit, clawed, and displayed the kind of fearless aggression that had made her species legendary on Earth. In the confusion, Burak had managed to plant 7 quantum beacons throughout the command deck before being captured. Melissa, monitoring from the agricultural station, had immediately launched herself in a rescue pod, not to save her brother, but to complete the mission. She too had been captured within the hour, which was exactly the plan. Your brother is in detention cell 7, Zethkara informed Melissa, studying her reaction. He will be executed as a saboteur at dawn. You will watch. Then you will be sent back to your colony as a message. Humanity cannot win through tricks and animals. You really don't understand Earth predators, do you? Melissa asked. Enlighten me, child. Honey badgers don't get trapped. They just get angrier. She paused, counting in her head. And right about now, Sergeant Ripley should be finishing her molt. Her... what? The containment cell alarm shrieked. The honey badger, which had been lying still for the past 3 hours, suddenly erupted in a frenzy. But something was different. Her movements were faster, more precise. The guards watched in horror as she began to squeeze through a ventilation grate that should have been too small for her body. Honey badgers, the Vraxians learned too late, could compress their loose skin and flexible spines to fit through spaces half their size. "Impossible," Zethkara breathed. "The grate is 4 centimeters, Melissa finished. "Yeah, she can manage that. You should also know that the quantum beacons my brother planted, they're not weapons. They're scent markers. See, Sergeant Ripley was trained by the Australian Defence Force's Animal Response Unit. She's been genetically enhanced for intelligence and resilience, and honey badgers have one special trait. They never forget a scent trail." The lights flickered. Somewhere in the ventilation system, alarms began cascading across multiple decks. Zethkara's communicator erupted with panicked reports. Engineering deck compromised. Life support under attack. Weapons array offline. A single small mammal was systematically dismantling a ship designed to conquer planets. "This is absurd," Zethkara roared. "It's one animal." "One honey badger," Melissa corrected. "There's a difference. On Earth, they fight off prides of lions. They eat cobras for breakfast. They've been documented raiding military camps just because they were bored. And you trapped one on your ship, surrounded by her by the sense of her handler." The detention bay doors suddenly buckled. Sergeant Ripley emerged, her fur matted with hydraulic fluid and what appeared to be 3 different colors of Vraxian blood. She took one look at Melissa's cell, then at Zethkara, and her beady eyes narrowed. "Now you've done it," Melissa repeated, her smile widening. The rescue fleet arrived 4 hours later to find the Vraxian flagship adrift, its crew having abandoned ship in emergency pods. Burak and Melissa were found on the bridge, Sergeant Ripley lounging contentedly on the commander's chair, cleaning Vraxian combat rations from her claws. The subsequent intelligence reports were rushed to every human military installation with a single note from Admiral Wong. "Humanity doesn't win because we're the strongest or the smartest. We win because when you back us into a corner, we remember that we come from a planet that tried to kill us for 4 billion years. We survived that by being the most stubborn, adaptable, and slightly insane species ever to evolve teeth." The Vraxian Empire withdrew from New Manitoba within a week, and Sergeant Ripley received a medal that she promptly buried in the garden because that's what honey badgers do.